Welcome to Conversations. My guest today is Peter Franklin, the new Executive Director of Highfield Hall and Gardens, who is here straight from Highfield's first open house. Welcome to the program, Peter.
Well, thank you, Barbara. I'm so glad to be here. I'm looking forward to telling everybody a little bit about the Highfield Hall and what's happening here.
Yes, you've been on the job now for about 6 months. Can you tell us something about yourself and what you were doing before taking on this new position?
Before taking on this position, I was an entrepreneur. I started a couple of businesses in the frozen manufacturing business. And before that, my education is in art history and design, believe it or not. So I've done a little bit of art and a business. And so coming to Highfield Hall was a great opportunity for me to combine my educational background in art history and my entrepreneurial experience. And I live in North Falmouth, so it's a nice, easy commute to a wonderful, beautiful spot.
Yes. Now, tell us something about how you see Highfield's mission.
What I see for Highfield Hall is I want Highfield Hall to be the cultural center for Falmouth, or one of the cultural centers for Falmouth at least. And I'm really hoping that people in Falmouth will come up the hill to see everything that we have to offer. The building went through 4 phases, and this is sort of the last phase when we finally get to open the house to the public. And the 4 phases that it went through was that it was built in 1878 by Pearson Beebe, and he held it until 1926, and then it was bought by Mr. Terhune, and up until around 1962 it was in really great shape. That was phase 1. And then phase 2 is when it started to deteriorate for about 30 years until 1994.
Oh yes, that's when so many people saw the possibility that would be destroyed.
Yes.
The building was set to be razed.
Yes, the mansion was about to get razed by the wrecking ball. And the wonderful people of Falmouth came through and saved the building. I mean, it's a remarkable story. Some people talk about how the house is about the Beebe family. In many ways, I think it's really about the town of Falmouth.
Yes, you're right.
It's an incredible story how people came and they worked on the grounds, they worked on the roof, and they volunteered their time and their effort. And it took 18 years between 1994 to 2012 before we had all the renovations done. So it was 18 years of legal work and renovation on the building and renovation on the gardens before it was pretty much done. We still have 2 more projects left to do that we're working on, the ice house and a cistern project, but for the most part, by the end of 2012, we had most of it done. And so now the last phase, after the renovation phase, which was the 3rd phase, is to open it up to the public and let the public come up and enjoy their house. They're the ones that saved it. They're the ones that support it, and I really want them to come up and enjoy the.
This is the most exciting phase because there's such an array of wonderful programs. Tell us something about what's happening in the next month.
We have all sorts of incredible programs. Our programs are based on 4 major tenets. We have music programs, we have culinary programs, we have art programs, and we have garden programs. And we had an open house today where we had people singing inside, and we had a tour of the facility and all the grounds and such. And we have this summer we have the Bluegrass Festival, which is on August 9th. And last year I think we had almost 800 people come to the Bluegrass Festival, which is incredible. Just recently we had Alexa Kenny come, who is an incredible violinist who came in and was on his way to Carnegie Hall after stopping at Falmouth. So we've had
these are world-class artists that are coming to Falmouth.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do, is trying to bring really top-notch, world-class art and music to Falmouth. Now we also do local programs. So our art program, we have 3 different exhibits every year, and we try to make the first exhibit about local artists. So today we opened up a local exhibit, and we have a local curator from the Cape who's running the program. And then our second exhibit, which is our summer exhibit, is about generally international or national. And then we do a regional exhibit at the end in the fall.
Now, I understand that particularly popular are the culinary programs. In fact, a couple I see are already sold out.
Yeah, we're really lucky. We have Gail Blakely, who is our culinary expert, and she does a phenomenal job getting all sorts of fun culinary classes for the people of Falmouth to enjoy. And generally, we sell out our culinary classes within 2 to 3 weeks. This year she's got a international series, so she's got a Greek class, an Italian class, a Mexican class, and we also have her Farm to Table series, where she talks about how to take fresh local vegetables and use them in your cooking to put on your own table.
Oh, great. That will appeal to locavores.
Right, and she also brings in local chefs from various places. So we've recently had one from the Quick Soul Tavern, the chef for Quick Soul Tavern, and the chef from Blue, who I think might be sold out by now. But so she organizes. We have about 26 different classes this year lined up for culinary classes.
Do you have some programs that are not just visiting, but hands-on, learning a craft, or?
We do have some programs. Certainly, if you're a gardener, we certainly have a number of those this year. We just recently brought on board Terry Soares. Terry is our Director of Landscape and Gardens. Terry's a phenomenal person, a long-time Falmouth resident. She owns Soares Landscaping, has her own nursery, and she is our new director, and she is organizing a volunteer program. And we just brought on a new shed for the volunteers, so they have their own shed, and they can come in and on Tuesday mornings, Terry will be there. She's a master gardener, and she will help volunteers with what needs to be done this year, and she's focusing on the issue of what happens in the spring after you've had a really cold winter and a very snowy winter.
Right.
And so there are certain kinds of gardening challenges that she's been talking to volunteers about. So I would encourage people to come in and volunteer for the garden. And then you can learn about cooking, for the culinary classes. So and when we have art exhibits, often we have the artists come in and show us how to do their various mediums. So we have a cut paper show, which we will have in the fall, and usually we have them show us how they do their cut paper.
That's quite extraordinary. I understand that's an ancient art, and it's just fabulous to see what is created through cutting paper.
It is. We had it last fall, and basically by popular demand, we're having it come again. It's the most intricate art I've seen. The cuttings are down to like 16th or 32nd of an inch, and it's on this one individual piece of paper where they cut out all the holes so you see the artwork in the paper.
My goodness.
It's just unbelievable. It's when you look at it and you see the detail that's involved, you just wonder how anybody can do it. And they used to do it the old days. When it started, it was started by sheep herders who had used sheep shears and used sheep shears to cut the paper.
Oh my!
I can't believe they do that now, but that's supposedly that's the way the real enthusiasts do it.
We're so lucky in Falmouth to have Highfield Hall. The programs are for certainly. I think about programs that older people can take advantage of, that introduce them to new ideas and to the joy of viewing beautiful art and listening to great music. But certainly it's for all ages. And it seems to me that that this is something that is just very special now that we, rather than traveling a great distance to hear a jazz performer, it's right in Falmouth,
Right.
right up the hill, as you said.
Right, exactly.
So that is a great thing. And I understand that you have plans to extend the garden to.
Yes, yeah, we are looking at extending the gardens and bringing in. Well, we're extending it and we're combining them with the art program. So for one of the programs that we have this year is Peter Hutchinson is going to be doing a thrown rope project, and so this is a combination of art and gardening.
Yes.
He takes these ropes, he's been doing it for a long time, he goes on large landscapes and he throws a rope, and then you plant along where the rope fell, and he's done some beautiful work all around the world.
I see.
And we're looking forward to having him come. I'm not sure exactly when he's coming, but he's coming this summer.
Something about the rope thrown that becomes spontaneous, irregular,
right.
and rather something like modern art in gardening.
Right. So yeah, what we're working on is trying to see where the intersection between culinary classes, art, music, and gardening can intersect, and then have some fun with that intersection. So we're looking at putting like an herb garden in the back, so we can have herbs that we can then use in the culinary classes.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
So we're exploring that intersection all the time. It's fun.
Right. And you had said that you have plans to make this all handicap accessible.
Yes, that's one of my initiatives. I read the recent report for Falmouth showing that the demographics of Falmouth is rapidly aging. So I really think it's imperative for nonprofits where they can. You know, we have limited resources, but as much as you can, you've got to make your facility available to everybody,
Right.
and particularly available to people who have ambulatory disabilities. So our house is fully ADA accessible, but our gardens are not yet.
I see.
So our first step towards that was we recently this year we're putting in a handrail up 14 steps from our rhododendron garden up to the west garden, and I want to thank the Falmouth Fund for helping us with that, and the Lovell Foundation for helping us with that purchase. And the next phase is I'm applying for a grant to fix the path. We have a 3/4 mile path around the outside of Highfield Hall that goes through the woods, and we have artwork through the woods. And I'm applying for a grant to shave down the roots that are there and then put a stone dust there so you'd be handicapped accessible.
Oh, that's really wonderful for people who can then enjoy just a walk through the garden, either a guided tour
Right.
or a walk. That opens up that whole area to so many more people.
Yeah, it's just be fun to be able to, go, even if you're handicapped accessible, go into the woods.
Sure.
I think that's great.
Sure.
And what I really like about the path in the back around the house is that if you have grandchildren or children, they can experience art in their own way.
Yes.
You don't have to put them inside a museum and tell them, shh. They may run by it. They may stop and look at it. We have mirrors in the woods. We have our first permanent collection in the woods. We have a crystal garden with all these rock crystals. And we didn't really, when we put the rock crystals in the garden, we didn't really understand the universality of that artwork. But it's a phenomenal piece of art. We have people who are sight impaired, and they can pick up the crystals and feel the crystals. We have people who have book groups we have places to sit around, and they have their book group around the crystal garden.
Oh, how nice.
We have children who come in and they're allowed to pick up the crystal and move it, so when they pick it up and they move it, they're effectively changing the artwork because now it looks a little different, so they're actually interacting with the artwork themselves.
A living museum.
It's sort of like a living, So it turned out to be just this phenomenal
Yes.
Piece, and it's our first really permanent piece that we're keeping at Highfield.
Highfield really has become something for everyone, truly. This is extraordinary. We're so lucky.
Yeah, it is such an honor and a privilege to be the executive director there.
Yes.
I have a beautiful place to work. I have phenomenal people that are putting these programs together for the people at Falmouth. They're just incredibly talented.
An education coordinator.
Yep.
a music coordinator.
Yep, we have an education coordinator. We have Gail Blakely, who does a column for the Falmouth Enterprise. And we have Robert Wyatt, who is a Smithsonian scholar, lecturer, and a Gershwin scholar. We have Annie Dean, who's got a master's degree in art history. And we have Terry Soares, who's a master gardener and landscaper. So we have these 4 phenomenal people that just put on incredible programs for Falmouth.
Well, what if, apart from some of the planned programs that one would have to go at a special particular time, what if somebody wanted to just spontaneously go up to Highfield? What could that person see or do?
Well, good question. That's a great question, because one of the things that we did this year as part of accessibility was we are now open 7 days a week. We were not open 7 days a week before. So now we are open 7 days a week. We are open 10 to 4 Monday through Friday, and we're open 10 to 2 Saturday and Sunday. So now everybody can come up to the place and use it when it's convenient for them. And when you come up, you can come up and go through the house, and you can look on the walls, and you'll see art exhibits. But you can also just look at the house itself. The architecture is incredible. It's from a Queen Anne style, which is a very ornate style. So on the inside, there's some really beautiful pieces of moldings around the openings and around the fireplace. And they've done a phenomenal job of restoring this house. When they started restoring, for instance, one of the fireplaces, there were some tiles that were missing. So what they did was they went and found the same manufacturer of the tiles that were put in there in the 1800s. They're still around, and they found that manufacturer and they used their tiles. It's not a perfect match, though, but they use the same company to match the tile.
Wonderful.
So you can look at the house, or you can look at the artwork, or you can look at both. And we also have a room where we talk about the history. And the fun part about the history, it shows the history of how the house was restored. And it shows how all the people of Falmouth got together and helped restore this house to its magnificence where it is now. I mean, it's an incredible, incredible story.
And people can walk through the gardens. By the way, is there an entrance fee? Do you expect a donation?
We don't charge. We do suggest a $5 donation.
Oh, that's very affordable.
Yeah, if we can, and if you can't, you can't, so.
Oh, that's very fair.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, it certainly must be very expensive to run such a huge institution. So.
Yeah, well, there are probably not too many people in Falmouth that have a house that has 17,000 square feet and 5.5 acres.
Right.
So as the sort of the landlord, I do have a bill. Our utility bill is a little over $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
Oh my!
So,
right.
So we do have a lot of expenses, and our landscaping bills we have a lot to mow and a lot to keep up. So, yeah.
I'm amazed that just 40% of your income comes from donations. I would think it would have to be more.
Yeah, we have people who rent the place, which helps a lot.
Oh yes, you have weddings.
We have weddings
right?
there. Yeah, we have weddings there, and we rent out about 4 or 5 lucky offices, lucky people who get to stay there. So the rental income helps a lot.
I'm actually not surprised at weddings. My son was married there.
Oh,
You
how
are
great!
right. Yes, yes. And it was wonderful. And I understand there are some weddings are done outside, or both outside
Right,
and
some are done
inside.
outside. Often they'll have a tent outside, and they'll have the evening inside.
Yes.
We can once a year we have the holiday ball, which is all inside, and that last year we had about 250 people. So you can fit a lot of people inside. Well, 17,000 square feet, it's a big place.
And you have membership, so some funds are
Right.
through people who become members.
Right. We have an annual appeal, and then we have a membership program.
Right.
And the membership program allows you to come to the door. You don't have to deal with the donation issue. But really, that's one of the things I've been really trying to activate and push as an initiative to really push membership. So we're offering members some really special things.
Oh, such as?
So I do an email to members, and my last email last month, we offered 10 free tickets to a music concert. And
You can bring friends and have a party. Great.
Right, and we in the winter we have our holidays gift shop. And so we had a members only preview. So you got to be the first people into the gift shop for members only with a glass of champagne as you walk through the door. And so there's some nice things.
Yeah.
And if you sign up for programs when you're a member, you get a discount. So we're hoping people, would like to be members. But.
Oh yes, with great incentives to become a member. That's really very nice.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's I think if people, my real goal is to get people to come up the hill. That's really, we have so much to offer, and they're the ones that kept the house alive, and renovated it. And so now's the time to enjoy all that work,
yes,
and enjoy the work that either your forefathers or your parents did or whoever. And
it strikes me too that the programs and the exhibits are so imaginative. I'm thinking fairy houses. What is this all about? It's I've seen pictures and it's really very enticing.
Yeah, we Sally Mabler is our curator for this. For the show, and she's an incredibly imaginative, wonderful person. And we had fairy houses 2 years ago, and it was a huge hit. It was our membership peak because it appeals to children and grandchildren. It appeals to parents and adults because it just sparks everybody's imagination. It's just a phenomenal show, so we're bringing it back this summer.
Oh, good. Oh,
so
good.
we have the opening, I think it's in June, I think.
Very, very nice.
That'll be great. Yeah, it's really fun for everybody. I can't wait to see it's so much fun trying to find all the fairy houses is part of the fun in the woods.
Yeah, so that it's adventurous for little ones to do that.
Right, and again, it pushes that theme of being able to bring children up there and let them and expose them to artwork and let them interact in ways that any way they want, which is something I'm really really excited about.
We should be quite grateful to those people in Falmouth, really, who saw possibilities, and certainly now we're seeing that it really adds to Falmouth. Has always had a place where culture is available for people, but this brings it. I think Highfield is bringing this to a new level.
Yeah, well, we're trying to do that as much as we possibly can. We're trying to bring the quality, really high quality exhibits here, as much as we can. But we also want to make it available to children so they enjoy it as well.
Right.
What's exciting is this year, for this show, I went through our calendars. We have all of our events planned out for the summer, and we have well over 100 scheduled events for the summer, which is an amazing number.
It is amazing.
It's an amazing number. We have like 7 book signings or topic talks. And one of them is the interior designer for the Kennedys will be coming in. We're doing a collaborative effort with the Kennedy Museum in Hyannis. So that's happening. We have 11 family-friendly community events, which are all free. You come up the hill, sit outside with your family, and have open houses and the Bluegrass Festival, and we have something at Halloween. So we have something at every month almost. And we have music concerts and garden programs, and so anyway, we have over 100 scheduled events, which is amazing.
And it's incredible that some of them are not that are free.
Most of them,
and,
a lot of them are free. Probably half of them about, I would guess, because
that is wonderful. You had I had heard something about a Japanese exhibit. This is something quite special.
Yeah, Falmouth and Cape Cod are going to be blessed with an incredible exhibit that is going to happen in the summer of 2016. Let me show you this. There's a group called CWAJ, and it's a group of college women who joined with Japanese women right after World War II. These women were from Wellesley and from Mount Holyoke. And they wanted to help the women who were trying to get their lives back together after World War II and their families. and they tried to raise money for these women, and they did it by selling Japanese prints. So they've been doing this now for obviously a long time. I can't do the math, but about 60 years, actually 60 years, because we're going to be hosting in Falmouth the 60th Japanese print show. Now they put their anniversary show all over the world, and their 50th show they were in I think it was the Smithsonian in Washington D.C., and their 40th show they were at the British Museum in London, and their 60th show is going to be in Falmouth.
Wow, that is special.
Yeah, so it's going to be an incredible show. It was amazing when they made the decision to have the show in Falmouth. They put it on the Japanese website. The day after they put it on the Japanese website, it wasn't on our website, it was on the Japanese website, we got 3 calls about when it was going to be and how it was going to, how they get tickets and all this kind of thing. It was really something. And we have bus tour groups that are interested in bringing Japanese tourists in, and there is a strong relationship with Falmouth and the Japanese community for 2 reasons. One is the emperor came to Falmouth.
Yeah, that's right, to Woods Hole.
He came to Woods Hole, yeah.
Or the MBL, I think.
Yeah, and there's a marine biology research lab that's very famous in Tokyo, and they put a sign out on their door when the Americans came into Japan at the end of the war saying, we are the MBL of Japan.
Oh,
that's actually the MBL library, that note that they put on the door. So please leave us alone, be nice to us.
Yes, yes. So that exhibit is going to just reinforce that relationship.
Right.
How nice, how nice. I'm certainly looking forward to that. You said 2016?
Right, next year.
Next year.
Yeah, and what we've learned is the Japanese like to plan a year in advance, so a lot of them want to know where they can make reservations now.
Right. Well, this has been wonderful, and it sounds to me as if we're looking at a very exciting season, and I'm sure that our viewers will certainly want to, after this winter, it's going to be wonderful to get out and take a walk in the gardens and enjoy nature and look at some wonderful exhibits. And I want to congratulate you, too, on taking on a job, and it sounds to me as if you're enjoying it very much.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
How lucky can you be to have a job where you get to go to a beautiful mansion
and
around gardens?
I know. Yes, that's true. That's true.
And work with really great people.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for being here and telling us about all the wonderful things that are happening at Highfield Hall and Gardens. And thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time on Conversations.